All right, I think we're live. Good morning, everyone. It is Monday, February 16th of 2026. If you're first time joining here or watching in the live playback, on this channel, how this works is we stream every Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Additionally, what we'll do is, sorry, I had a brain fart there right off the jump. In this stream, we do an overall wellness check on the market. We look at all crypto, and then we move on to silver and gold, look at the Japanese bond market, and then we may move on to specific topics, something going on in the S&P 500 or general news stories going on in the space. We'll then branch out, we'll answer questions along the way, we'll update my FLR spreadsheet in real time, and we'll cover some other announcements. This week is very exciting. I leave tonight for the Hbar Developer Conference. I will be live in Denver tomorrow, which does mean tomorrow's stream is not going to be from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. I don't know when I'll have a chance to go live, so what I'm going to have to do, at least in this case, when I find the opportunity, I'll turn the camera on and we'll talk about the things that I'm learning in real time at the conference. Since I haven't been to one of these yet, I don't know exactly what to expect, so keep an open mind on that, but I will be live tomorrow. I just don't know when. And then Wednesday, I should be back to my normal, regular 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. schedule. So I'm going to say good morning to everyone, and then we're going to hop right into it. We have a lot of cool stuff to cover today, especially because we had a nice Valentine's Day pump over the weekend. We'll get to that here in a second. For now, good morning, Aman. Good morning, Scorpio. Good morning, Stavros. Am I saying that right? Stavros. Good morning, Steph. Good morning, Neon. Good morning, Pat. And, oh, good morning, Steph again. There we go. We got that. We are going to just dive straight into it because we've got a lot of really cool stuff to cover. A lot has happened since Friday afternoon. So I'm on CoinMarketCap right now. We've had some pretty cool rallies over the weekend. So I don't know if you guys are aware, XRP at one point got all the way up to, let me tighten this up. It got all the way up to $1.60, I believe it was 67, and CoinMarketCap is showing 65. Unfortunately, it went back down. I want to talk about this a little bit. I think there's some market manipulation going on here, especially on the Binance side. If you don't know, there's this guy by the name of CZ. I don't know what his official name is, but he goes by CZ. And there's good reason to think that this kind of dip right here was caused by trading bots on the Binance platform. We can get a little bit of that once we break out into the Twitter section of the stream. What I want to say about this right off the bat, this space, we all know it from being here as long as we have, that there's just so much screwy things going on. It's an unregulated space. So what this guy did, technically not illegal because there's not really legal terms defining it, but this was clear market manipulation using trading bots and trading algorithms to basically stop this thing from continuing its run. That's something I do think would go away on the other side of the Clarity Act. I know it's disappointing to see all this. You know, I was watching this happen, not in real time. It happened overnight while we were all sleeping, at least here in the United States. But you wake up, you look at the 24-hour chart, and you're like, oh man, late in the night, this thing got up almost to $1.70. I mean, granted, you guys, just last week, we were as low as $1.30. So that's a pretty giant leap. I mean, this thing looked like it was going to finally do a real breakout. But alas, due to the manipulation over there on Binance side of things, now we're back down to 148. Still a really good rally for the week. We can see that, you know, during the midweek from Monday through Friday, we're really down in that 130 range, 140 at the high end. Now we're sitting pretty here at $1.48. So this is still good news. We're back up to that $1.50 range. A lot better than what we were seeing last week. And it is possible, you know, none of us here are fortune tellers, but maybe we won't go back down to $1.20. Maybe the worst really is baked in here. We'll have to watch throughout the week how this plays out. Unfortunately, there won't be any update tomorrow, so we'll have to just kind of circle back on Wednesday and see how things move throughout the week. Good morning, Gary. I think we got some more people in here. Good morning, David. Glad you could finally make the live. That's awesome. By the way, guys, I may as well throw this out here now. The Discord's going really well. We've been live on Discord for about a week now. I'm going to pin, if you haven't joined it already, I'm going to pin it as a comment here. This has been really cool. If you guys have questions for me or in general just want to hang out, this is a really good opportunity to kind of come pick my brain in a more conversational format. I was playing some video games and, you know, you guys were saying it was kind of fun to watch me game and talk crypto at the same time. I don't know that I would do that on the primary channel. I think that might turn off a general audience, but some of you guys did seem to enjoy that. So if that's your thing, if you want to be a part of that, hop into the Discord. I'm always answering questions, especially as we get diving into the DeFi stuff with FLR. I know it's kind of scary if you're not familiar with the layout of the site and how all that works. So I'm happy to help out, you know, anybody who wants to be a part of that. I do want to give a disclaimer since we're on that topic. None of this on this channel is financial advice, and these videos are just for research and education purposes only. If you do want to get involved in DeFi, just understand at the end of the day, it's you hitting the buttons. So there is some inherent risk with participating in lending, borrowing, collateral, staking, wrapping. It's not 100% risk-free. And certain activities are going to come with higher risk. We can talk more about that later, but I just want to preface the statement. If you do get involved in it, at the end of the day, it's you hitting the buttons. So just keep an open mind about that. But if you want to be involved, join on the Discord. We're in there answering questions all the time. Reading Neon's comment, dang, your subscribers have really been ticking up. Good content equals more subs. I appreciate that, man. I've only been at this for about 3 months, so it's been surreal to see that it really is moving, you guys. Like, I don't know, in a year from now, could be somewhere between 20 and 30,000. You know, I sometimes wonder when we get to that level how difficult it'll be to interact with everybody. So I'm glad you guys are here now and we can kind of operate as a small channel for now. Who knows where it goes long term. So another factor to think about, if you join the Discord, as my channel does get bigger and bigger, Discord's probably going to be the best way to get a hold of me. I'm already getting blasted with emails and things like that it's almost getting too difficult to keep track of everything. Especially, I get a ton of BS collab emails. I get like 5 a day. A lot of them are, you guys get how it is in this space. There's just a lot of BS. So it does bog down my ability to read emails. I'd say for now, Discord's the best way to get a hold of me. Miguel says, hello, any thoughts on the possibility of XRP dropping below $1? I mean, anything can happen, but I do think just by what we looked at the chart here a second ago, but just going off what we're looking at here, I think we might be seeing we'll probably see a slower recovery. I was expecting this to keep going. Unfortunately, the manipulation from Binance kind of put that to an end. But there's always another day. And long term, I think that we're going to be doing just fine. I'm not sure after the weekend if we're going to be going back down to that dollar range, but anything can happen. Coffee sip. All right, so branching out a little bit, over the next couple of days, I'm going to be spending a lot more time talking about Hbar. I know we primarily talk about XRP and FLR. Part of the reason for that is that Hbar doesn't have that big of a social media presence. So The news coming out about Hbar is a lot more sparse than what we get with XRP and FLR. That doesn't mean that nothing's happening. It just means there's not as much coverage on it. That doesn't mean I'm any less bullish on Hbar. It just means that on a week-to-week and a day-to-day basis, there's not always as much to talk about. But I will be going to the Hbar conference tonight. It starts at 7 a.m. tomorrow, goes till 7 p.m. So I'll be there. I'm going to experiment with different ways to record. I'm bringing all my equipment. This is going to be kind of a dry run to see how content creation on the road goes. I'd like to cover the Ripple conference in May, but because the Hbar conference is free, the Ripple conference is not. So I want to at least do some experimenting. So it would be kind of a waste to go there and then find out that, you know, the camera's not working or the mics aren't working, and then like, sure, it's cool to be there, but I think a lot of the information that'll be coming out will probably make its way to YouTube. So as cool as it is to go, I think the real reason for going is to actually integrate myself with that community as an actual content creator. So that's kind of the idea. This Hbar conference will be the dry run for that, kind of a stress-free, low-stakes opportunity to kind of test out my hardware and make sure I'm operational. GK asks, if you have a chance, can you review Nexo now being used in the US? I used to earn 1 XRP a day with it. I'm not familiar with Nexo. If you want to give us more details on that, you know, if you're on Discord, you can do a quick write-up on it, and then I can kind of dive in further with it. But as it is right now, this is the first time I'm hearing about Nexo, so I don't have much input I can give on it now, but I can put it on the radar. A lot of you guys have been sending me different DeFi things over there on Discord. By the way, just to get this one out of the way early, if you do go to Discord, please refrain from posting links to things. I don't have a problem with you guys sharing what you're working on. But to keep this community safe, I'm going to ask that you can share videos, but please don't share links to, for example, if there's something for XRP, to, you know, lending, staking, any of that stuff. I'd ask that you guys hold off on posting links. You can send us screenshots of your results, things like that, but just to keep the community safe, I'd ask that we don't be sharing links, because last thing you want is your audience getting scammed on your own Discord. So that's something I have to kind of, I'm gonna have to clean that up pretty early, because not saying anyone's doing that, but it's something that I'm concerned with. You know, I have to think about these things now that I'm operating a community. Looking at Quant's doing pretty good, hanging out at 70 bucks. It's another token that has held on pretty well. Not everything rallied over the weekend, so to see some of my favorite coins rallying, you know, it's still down, by the way, 13% on the month. So, you know, don't go out in the street and celebrate quite yet, but positive momentum is positive momentum. We can see this also got all the way up to 75 bucks overnight. And then, you know, you can see right here around that 3 a.m. marker, it's when it peaked out at 75 and then kind of came back down to 70. So we're getting a lot of manipulation out of that Binance space. If you go to Twitter, there are people very much up in arms over it. We might cover that off a little bit later in the stream. Coffee time. And then lastly, you guys know I love my FLR. FLR, you know, same deal right there around that 3 a.m., 4 a.m. mark. It got all the way up to a penny and 1/20th. Kind of a mouthful. Still working out the best way to say that one out loud. It'll get better over time as FLR appreciates above that penny to 2 penny range. It'll be easier to say its price there, but it went up, then it kind of came down. So all of our favorite coins here on the channel did some very good movement over the weekend. then came back down, but it's held above where it was Friday. So we are still in the green, at least for the past 7 days here. All great stuff. I'm expecting FLR to do extraordinarily well. You guys know that. This right now is still the best buying opportunity. Anything under a penny is, I hate to compare it to Bitcoin, but this is kind of like being able to buy Bitcoin back when it was $100. FLR has not really been lower than what it is right now. It was a little lower in 2023 for a brief period, but actually it's been lower right now for more days than it was back in 2023. So this is really kind of that bottom of the trench area that if there was ever a time to get started on FLR, this is 100% it. Not financial advice, of course, but if you are just getting started here, your average cost on FLR could not be better. And I see FLR getting some serious traction on the other side of the Clarity Act, and I do think a rally is not that far from now. I don't know the exact date, but I would not be surprised to see some pretty major movement this year with FLR. So you guys know on a personal level, I'm already pretty good on FLR. Of course, I'm going to keep buying more, but I'm at a position right now where let's say this thing went to 10 cents. I'd be able to hang my hat on what I've got, but I'm going to continue dollar cost averaging. As long as it's at this price, I'll continue to buy, and I don't have an upper limit. I don't have a spot where I would say, okay, that's enough FLR, I'm not buying anymore. So to kind of articulate it that way, as long as you can keep going, but do also think about trying to kind of branch out into some of the other coins like Quant, like Hbar. It's good to be well-rounded. And so that's my feedback on that. Steph says, hi, Andrew. I tried to join the Discord after Friday Live. It still shows the pending app on my side. Let me look into that because that shouldn't be the case. I don't think I have any pending. Well, I do have. Well, this is weird. So I approved someone yesterday. They're still showing up at my pending, which is strange because they've already left comments in the general chat. So maybe they tried applying twice. Steph, if you don't mind, could you maybe type out like the first 3 characters of your Discord name if you're comfortable with that, and I'll kind of see. I'll be able to tell right away if that's you. Just by going off the first couple of letters. And then I think just one second, I'm gonna send a quick message. There we go. So I think we're going to do a showcase later in the session, as long as Aman, I see you're in the chat. As long as Aman's up for it, he's been looking at some cool stuff. I wanted to give him a space to show us what he's been looking at. It's been DeFi stuff with FLR, and it's on an improved platform. So in general, if I'm going to look at something, I'm going to give you guys my perspective. If it's mentioned here on the FLR site, this is the real site, not a fake link. I'll go to news or events, and I'll just do some Control F to look through, has FLR talked about this platform before? And if the answer is yes, that's what tells me it's safe. So you can see the whole reason I'm doing Mystic right now, it's right here on the FLR site. Some of the DeFi stuff that's out there, it's not officially sponsored by the FLR network, so that's why I'm very cautious about where I put my money. But I do trust FLR, and so that's my perspective on it. I want to do a video on this later today, by the way. It'll probably be a pre-record. FLR is very, very, very close to 100 million FXRP. Right now it's at 98.9. It's probably going to cross that million mark either today or tomorrow. And I just want to give you guys something to think about, kind of in a perspective point of view. When it comes to XRP, to actually get this thing up and running, we probably really only need somewhere between 5 and 10 million XRP being used for its intended purpose for this thing to get traction. I don't have the official quotes right now, but there is a book called Start With Why, and I forget the guy's name, but in his book he mentions that for something new to get adopted, it needs to have about a 10 to 15% participation rate. And so when I use that for XRP, like that same thought process or same model, because there's 65 billion XRP in circulation right now, the other 35 are in escrow. Well, 10% or 15% of that is kind of in that 5 to 10 million XRP range. Well, if we've got 100 million FXRP, this is all retail, by the way. If the magic number is 10 million or 10 billion XRP being used, we're 1% of the way there, which is a tremendous milestone because this is just retail. This is not institutional people. This is people like you and I putting our money where our mouth is. That's no insignificant number. And because we're using this, it means that the major institutions, at least for now, they're not getting their hands on this 100 million XRP. So I think this is really cool stuff. I think what they're doing over there at FLR is incredible. I mean, you just juxtapose this with what's going on over at Binance. Binance is continuously screwing retail over with their trading bots. They're wiping people out on a weekly basis that use leverage trading. It's very, very predatory behavior. And then on the other side of this is FLR, who's created an ecosystem for us to actually use, sorry, I got an eyelash here, to actually use XRP for its intended purposes. We're active participants in it, and this stuff is just very exciting to me. Sorry, this eyelash is like inside my eyeball. There we go. That's good enough. So very excited about this, and we'll bring him on later to talk about. He's got some cool stuff that he's doing with FLR, and we'll take a look at that. But as always, guys, exercise caution with all of this stuff. We'll showcase things. That doesn't necessarily mean that you should do it. It's just we're going to showcase stuff. He's got Scepter. Scepter's on the official FLR site. So this is why I was okay with this particular DeFi being showcased here, because if it's on the FLR website, we're on FLR.network still. They're partnered up with Scepter. That is, to me, okay. That means it's the real deal. So keep an eye out for that. We'll probably do that at around 12:30 Eastern time. So that'll be the back half of the stream. Maybe we even turn that into its own video. At any point, I could just start recording. I like showing you guys, so I'll just show you guys this stuff. Okay. There's this button down here that says start recording. So if we cover really cool stuff, I can always hit this button and it basically turn into the same platform I already shoot my YouTube videos on. So that could be something cool for us to work on them on. So keep an eye out for that. We'll do that one in the hour. But I just want to keep covering other topics for now. Thank you, Wadap, what up? I don't know. I appreciate you joining the army, however you pronounce your name, however you'd like me to pronounce it. I appreciate that. Steph says, just call it Steph, so it kept things the same so folks knew who it was. Let me see. Last night I did a wave of approvals. I'm just going to pop in and see if you were included on that. And then we'll keep moving here. I don't... Steph, are you still not in the Discord? If not, you're not the first person who's had trouble with it, so I am curious what's going on there. But I do see some more people have joined Thanks, Blake, and thanks. I already cleared the name off the screen, but thanks to both the guys that just joined. You guys will enjoy this stuff. We're covering a lot of cool stuff, and then at night, you know, if I'm playing a video game, I just hop into the channel, the live chat channel, turn the camera on, and that's a good way for you guys to get a hold of me. What's going on, Dunamis? Good morning. Steph, we'll get you in the Discord. We'll figure it out. But for now, I want to pop over to the JP10Y, give a quick update on this. Not much is happening here. It's down to 2.2. You know, I've said on the channel before, I don't necessarily want to cheerlead for this thing. I'm going to switch the layout, by the way, so that it looks cleaner. I don't necessarily want to cheerlead for this to get out of control, because this would, in a lot of ways, destroy the Japanese economy, and it would cause a lot of problems for people all over the nation here in the United States, because our economies are so intertwined. So just to give you guys a background, if you haven't been caught up on this topic, the Japanese bond market is where most of the world's global finance gets their lending from. The reason for that is that the yen, which is the Japanese currency, has been inflation resistant since around the 1980s, which means they either don't inflate at all, or their inflation is so small that it's immaterial. All of that's recently changed in the past couple of years. Thanks to this bond market, you can see even just 5 years ago, this bond market yield was at the very, very low zeros. I mean, it's 0.1. That's inconsequential, and at times it would dip even below that. Starting in 2023, we started to see the very slow but gradual rise in the Japanese 10-year government bond. Well, fast forward to today, it is at 2.2%, which it has not done since the 1990s. I believe it was 1997. This chart on here only goes back to 2006, so I'm not going to be able to show you guys the evidence on that, but if you go offline and look for yourself, you can find historical JP10Y charts that show that we are now officially above what it was in the late 90s before the dot-com bubble crashed. Coffee time. So what all of this means is that if the yen continues to inflate, the pressure to pay back these loans gets higher and higher. Because if you get a loan at a 0% lending rate, there's no incentive to pay it off early, right? Like if you got 10 years to pay a loan back, you're going to do the bare minimum payments each time. And then you might even do some things like, you know, they call rolling the bones. You might take another loan off to pay the original loan back, and then you've never actually used any real money. You know, you're using a loan to pay off a loan, and you just kind of keep it rolling, right? That's kind of what the financial markets have been doing. When you introduce inflation to that, it becomes less and less feasible. So if you're on Wall Street and you're a major bank, or if you're in, you know, the government treasuries of all these different companies like United Kingdom, United States of America, Germany, you're seeing these yields go up, and you're thinking, well, we better start paying back our loans because, you know, in 2023 or in 2030, if these bond yields are at like 6 or 8 or 10%, we're going to owe Japan a boatload of money, and it's not going to be pretty. So a lot of people are pressured right now to join, or a lot of people are pressured right now to return those loans back to Japan. But there could be a liquidity problem, because think about it like this. By the way, Gateway, I really appreciate you joining the Army. Welcome aboard. If you took out a loan on the yen, there's a very, very good chance that you converted it into something else. And so when the time comes back to pay the yen back, you have to give it, to pay a yen loan back, you have to pay Japan back with yen. Like, I can't go and pay Japan back with cell phones. So if I'm Apple, I can't just pay Japan back with a bunch of Apple iPhones. I have to pay them back with yen. If you don't have the yen, you might have to go somewhere else to get it, which is why Warren Buffett is stacking yen, by the way. But you can see how this would cause a liquidity crisis, because all these different institutions, banks, Wall Street, Fortune 500 companies, governments, they're all going to have to start paying Japan back, but they don't have the yen to do it. There is another option, and that option is XRP. So if Japan says we will accept XRP as a representative of the yen, that is a pathway forward to just turn a crazy amount of money into XRP. This would be called the reverse carry trade. And if you've ever watched Jake Claver's channel, this is where those crazy multi-$100 price predictions were coming from. So long-winded answer here, but to tie this all up with a nice bow on top, the higher the Japanese bond market goes, the more likely this is to happening. Now, 2.2%, probably not enough to cut it. But if we see it continue to rise, it's like adding straws to a camel's back. So does 3% do it? It could, maybe not. Does 4% do it? Maybe not, but it's more likely than 3%. As this thing gets higher, it just becomes more and more likely. And those also factors in other economic problems that could happen in Japan, where if they need yen like right now, like we need this yen right now, that could really, really kick this thing off. And I'll give Jake credit, I'll give Jake Claver the credit he's due. If there is an oil crisis in the Middle East, there will be an oil shortage in Japan. And we all know how supply and demand works. When the supply goes down, the demand goes up. The price of oil in Japan could skyrocket. That could be something that causes the reverse carry trade. But right now, the Japanese bond market, at least over the past month, it actually has gone down a little bit, and it's not rising at this time. So, just giving food for thought, this is something that would make XRP go to the moon, but it would have some dire consequences for the rest of the world. On a personal level, I'm okay with us finding a different pathway forward. That's just a personal opinion of mine. Now, we're tracking this because, facts don't care about feelings, right? This could happen regardless of how I feel about it, and that's why I cover it, but I don't necessarily want to be cheerleading it. And that's kind of the perspective that I've got on this. It's time for that coffee sip. Mr. Good, I feel that's amazing. I appreciate that. My son Atticus 9 just bought his first 1,000 flare today. He loves your channel. I appreciate that. You guys have no idea. It's cool to see how far this has come. I've only been at this for 3 months. Like many of you, I was very ingrained in this space, but I otherwise wasn't really commenting. I wasn't really making content. But I've been here a while. I'm really glad that I just kind of pulled the trigger on it. By the way, ignore my pits, my sweaty armpits there. I'll try not to scratch my head anymore now that I saw that. And hopefully none of you guys did. But it's cool to see how things are coming along. Silver's at 76. Nothing too crazy, but it is down on the 5-day average. We were looking at an $84 silver last week. Down to 76. So that's actually that's a pretty big slide. We can see it was basically a vertical line straight down on the 12th. And it's been kind of sitting flat ever since. So we'll keep an eye on this. The volatility of the precious metals, not really a good thing, right? People buy these because what do they call it? A store of value. The volatility here is not good, but that doesn't mean that silver and gold aren't good. I mean, silver and gold are just silver and gold. I mean, they're inanimate objects that they don't have earnings calls. They're not they're not for-profit entities, right? So to see the volatility in here tells me that it's not silver and gold that's the problem, but there's something screwy going on, and none of us know exactly what it is, but it should be setting off your alarm bells in your head saying, wait a minute, something's happening here. And we just want to stay aware and keep our eyes open so we can find out what. I have my own theories about it, but I don't want to be wrong, so I'll kind of keep them to myself. But some of you guys probably already might be on the same page as me, speaking telepathically to the audience. S&P 500 almost hit 7,000, so, you know, sorry, Pam Bondi. I hate to break the news to you. S&P 500 is no longer at 7,000, so you're going to have to find a new argument. And for those of you that didn't pick up on that, there were some hearings last week over some of the ugliness going on with the Epstein files, and instead of answering the question, Pam Bondi pivoted to the Dow's at, what is the Dow at? Was it 50,000? The Dow's at 50,000 and the S&P's at 7. Why aren't you guys talking about that? So it was a very controversial, very controversial event. Made the rounds on social media, so that was kind of fresh in my head. I'm going to open my window real quick. It's very interesting. Right now here in the northeast of the United States, it's about 50 degrees. And I think for those of you guys out there in Europe and abroad, I want to say that's about 10 Celsius. Now, when it's 50 degrees and sunny, it can feel almost like a summer day. So I spent the whole weekend outside. I'm in shorts. I'm in a tank top. I'm running. I'm training for a marathon. So I'm just excited that we're getting this good weather. But it still gets ridiculously hot in this room I'm in. The rest of my house is all wood floors, so it doesn't insulate heat very well. But this room I'm in, you guys can't see it, but I have sound dampening blankets all over the walls. So this room is very well insulated. I swear it can get to like 85 to 90 degrees in here sometimes. Hopefully when summer officially hits, the heat just stops running and I won't have to open the windows anymore. But unfortunately, I got to work with what I got for now. Mr. Mick, $50 super chat, or at least 50 euro. I really appreciate it, man. That is incredible. You guys really helped me keep this thing sustainable, and I hope you guys understand and appreciate that, because without you guys, you know, I wouldn't be able to do this. So, Mr. Mick, I hope you know that that is truly felt, and I appreciate that. A couple other things I'm going to pull up. I want to pull up the XRP rich list again. This thing, well, we covered it last week, so I won't linger on it. But the amount of XRP that you have to hold to get into these top brackets is continuing to go down. And why does this matter? Some people, whenever I make an XRP rich list video, I know for a fact that there's going to be comments about like, why is it a competition? Everybody should do this to feel good. It's not about that at all. It's all about perspective. And here's what I touched on this a little bit in the video, but I'll hit it again because I thought about it over the weekend. I came up with a good way to articulate it. So think about it like this. If the 50th percentile of XRP is somewhere around, who knows, like 500 to 1,000 XRP, if somebody who's exactly in the middle of the percentiles, they're right there at 50%, if they do good on XRP, then it is a logical fallacy that somebody in the top 20% or the top 15 or top 10% would not do well. So if someone at the 50% marker does well, logic would dictate that everybody above that is also doing well, if not better. And so what I was really trying to get at there, and with the whole point of that video, is that it only takes 2,300 XRP to be in the top 10%. Not financial advice, but if we look up here at the top left corner, it's at $1.48. All in, you could be a top 10% XRP holder for about $3,500, which, you know, I know everyone's in a different position, but I mean, $3,500 isn't that hard to come up with. Even if you were in a tight situation, you could DoorDash at night, drive Uber at night. You could get on Fiverr and edit TikTok videos. I mean, there's opportunities out there to generate, you know, small amounts of income. But if you were to strictly put that into XRP, there's not a person in America, Europe, or Asia. I'm not well versed enough on South America or Africa, but I know at least those three continents, there's opportunities out there. There's no reason anyone could not get inside of the 10 percentile for XRP. And all of this stuff is proportionality. So what does it mean if you are in the top 10% versus the 50%? Well, if the 50% XRP is enough to generate true wealth, it means those that hold that 10% are just going to get there sooner. And all things being equal, when you get to that level of wealth, you probably really only need about $2.5 to $3 million as an individual to maintain your own lifestyle and do early retirement. But if you have well beyond that, let's say that at the end of this story, you're sitting on 20, 30, 40, maybe even $50 million. At that level, you no longer need that money for your own lifestyle, but you can use that money to become an influence in your community. Our world is rife with problems right now. There are many bad actors out there. A lot of them have a lot of money. And this is an opportunity for people like you and I that are good, decent, hardworking people to get to levels of wealth we were not designed to get to. And we can use this to create a better world. And I don't say that to be kind of like pie in the sky, feel good statement. I mean that very seriously, that you guys know what's going on out there. You watch the news with the Epstein's Island stuff, between all the different wars, all those things are interconnected. It's a battle with the wealthy. And this opportunity for everyday working class people like us to become wealthy on a level beyond just retirement needs means that there could be some seriously positive outcomes from all this. And so for me, that's really kind of the whole idea. Yes, Lamborghinis and watches and gold chains it's fun to meme about, and on some level you could probably even go out and get some. And if you got 50 million bucks, a Lambo is inconsequential at that point, but it's not really the point. I mean, not really. The point is to try to create a better world. Like, for example, I don't have kids yet, but I'd like to have kids, and I want my kids to grow up in a world that is not so corrupted like we're in today. That's my soapbox on the XRP rich list and why this is so important. I'd like to hear from you guys. If you agree, if you disagree, let me know in the comments. But I tend to think that most of the people here are on the same page. I'm going to jump over now to my FLR data set. Got some cool stuff to show here. Up front, my analysis so far, the collateral pools and the delegation are just about 1-to-1. So the collateral pools, you don't claim an epoch, so it's hard for me to actually record the daily movement on that. They just give me the balance, so that's all. That's the best I can do for column F. But for my delegation reward, because I am claiming them, you know, I've got this screenshots tab, by the way. You know, I used to work in consulting, so you always got to take the evidence, right? So some of these don't load all the time, not sure why. But anyways, I've got my screenshots folder. I'm tracking these up. You can see that if I sum these up, I've gotten 108 FLR tokens out of the delegation reward. Over here in the collateral pool, I've gotten 103. That's basically neck and neck. And you also have to consider the AU, which is who I'm holding my collateral with. AU might have a slightly smaller delegation reward than Anchor, which is what my wrapped flare is with. But even a 5 flare difference, not that big of a deal. But you have to consider my collateral has generated for me 1/5 of an XRP. And currently XRP, the flare is about 150 flare for 1 XRP. So you have to factor that in. I'm looking at this right now, and we're going to track this till August, but I'm starting to wonder if wrapping your flare is becoming obsolete, and you'd almost just be rather better off deciding, do I want to get with collateral or do I want to get with staking? My staking reward was pretty small, only 51. I think there were some issues with Anchor that first week or two that I was staking with them. I'm expecting the next one, which should come out on February 25th. I'm expecting a much bigger number than 51 for this next one. We'll see if that's true. On my primary Flare wallet, which I'm probably not going to show that one on stream or on the channel, but my staking rewards on my primary wallet, my personal wallet, was far, far greater than my wrapped Flare rewards. So I'm really looking forward to this. We'll just quickly log these in real time. Let me make sure my tabs are open. Let's see here. Is this up to date? I don't think that it is. So I just refreshed my Mystic. We're gonna log this. It takes like 30 seconds for the flare to show up here. While we wait for that to load, let's jump over to Flare Assets. So I've generated 0.01 FXRP since yesterday. So it's not a static reward. I only get rewarded when FXRP is minted. So keep that in mind. There's going to be times when this might jump up significantly in one day. And there might be days where it doesn't move much at all. It all depends on how many people are out there minting FXRP. I did get myself up to 1,000 FXRP for Mystic. I'm going to put myself up to 1,000 in Firelight when that goes live. I'll do a video very shortly, not this week, but next week. We'll mint an FXRP on the video. I'll go very slowly. So it might be, for some of you guys that like fast-paced videos, it might be hard to watch, but that specific video will be for people that haven't done this, so I'm going to intentionally move slow in that video. Just be kind of cognizant of that. I know some people like to watch their videos on 1.5 times speed, but we're just not going to be able to do that in that one. Of course, you can always speed it up if you do end up watching it. So I'm entering in today's prices. You can see that those are good. Let's see if Mystic loaded yet. Sorry, I got a bunch of tabs here. All right, cool. I'm at 84.72 on the week for my Mystic. Now, if you're not familiar with Mystic, this just came out. I mean, this is brand new stuff. So I've got 1,000 FXRP in this. You can see right here. The rewards on it are not that crazy. I mean, it's only 3%. Okay, not that, I mean, you're not going to Disneyland on 3%, but it's more than zero. And so, I mean, if your XRP is just sitting on a wallet, 3% is still better than 0%. Not as high as I guess I would like it to be. We'll see how Firelight pans out when Firelight goes live, but you know, I'm still going to take a 3% over 0. So for me, this is good enough for now. We'll see how it goes, you know, as time goes on. This is all just kind of experimental stuff for now. So we're just data collecting and we'll see how this pans out. Now, the last thing for us to look at, let's see where I might have to log back in. Yeah, I got to log back into my, I'll probably take this one off screen while I connect it. And then we'll see if there's any epochs. I don't think there will be, but don't hurt to check. Anytime you're ready. Oh, I might have to just close out the thing. It works most of the time, but doesn't work all of the time. There we go. If blah, 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 blah. In general, if you're having trouble connecting, just do the old IT trick. Close your apps or reset the cache on your browser. That should work for you. So this is cool. We're looking at a 55.18 reward. Let's jump back over here. So we got 55.18. Well, this is actually gonna go up. Staking, I doubt we're gonna have a staking reward. Yep, nothing to stake here. That's to be expected. We're gonna claim this real quick. We're gonna take a screenshot. So let's get that 55.18. Gonna jump back over to the spreadsheet over here. What is today, the 16th? I think it's strange that some of these screenshots don't load. I wonder if that's just like a Google issue or what, but nonetheless, I do save all of these locally on a folder just in case these things don't work out. So let's save this bad boy here in the, oh shit, where's, oh boy, I don't remember which folder I put it in. Hold on, give me a second to find this. Search for flare. Where is this thing? Maybe if I don't find it in the next 10 seconds, here it is. Oh no. I think I realized what happened. I didn't save the other one. That's probably why it didn't load. Oh, that's okay, you guys. We can miss a screenshot from time to time. Well, anyways, roundabout story. We're at 163 for the delegation rewards, so that's pretty cool. Come on, you piece of pardon my swearing. I'm working on it. So far in my wrap flare, we've got 50,215. Let's check over here. That should still be true. Let me just confirm this real fast. And we should see that that ends up being, oh, transaction failed. Come on. It works most of the time, but doesn't work all of the time. 2 times in a row? Are you kidding me? Come on, Flare, you guys make me look bad right now. I'm gonna put this to slow. By the way, this happens sometimes. You can't see my screen, but I can change the speed settings from medium to slow, and it just about always works on slow. So I guarantee this works. Boom, transaction complete. And you can see we're at 215.07. This is a rounding error. I'm just going to type it in manually. 215.07. There we go. Two flare rounding error is still too much in my opinion. So that's cool. Let's check over the collateral pool and see if there was also a reward on that side. I have to imagine there probably was. Wait a minute. I swear I had it open. Did I disconnect it by accident? Nah, I guess I'll have to connect it now. Sorry about that, folks. There we go. Okay, so it doesn't look like it's hit yet. So we're still at 50,103. What was that? 24? So it doesn't look like the epoch has hit the collateral pool yet, but it did hit the wrapped flare. Nonetheless, we have generated 400 flare since we started this experiment just a little over 2 weeks ago. I think we're about 15 days in. Pretty cool stuff. I mean, this is flare I would not have if I was not doing this. So just kind of food for thought. If you can ramp up, you know, I did 50,000 because that was the minimum allowed for staked flare. I mean, if you were to put in, I'm not saying you guys have 500,000 flare, but if you had 500,000 flare, I think you can kind of see how these numbers would accelerate far beyond what I'm getting in this Excel sheet. And you run this for a couple of years, 4 or 5 years, you might be able to double your portfolio in terms of quantity of tokens held, not even considering the price appreciation we'll have on this later on down the road. Now, I saw some movement in the chat. I just want to get caught up. I do believe Zerp had a couple comments here. Zerp says XRP and XLM tend to move together, likely driven by similar market makers. Oh, so I think you guys are sidebarring. It looks like you guys are talking about Stellar. So I kind of do agree with Zerp here. Zerp says, I don't see a reason to sell XLM to buy something else. You already own it. The 365-day long-term hold clock is already running. Why reset that clock for another asset? In general, I don't like swapping. You know, I still hold Ethereum, Solana, and Bitcoin. Even though I no longer believe in them enough to buy them, I haven't sold any of them. The only thing that I've swapped, I got roped into that Pudgy Penguins crap. I did swap that because I don't believe in Pudgy Penguins so strongly that I was like, I don't even want to hold them anymore. So I did swap Pudgy Penguins for XRP, but in general, I do tend to avoid swaps just because, for one, you have to hold an asset for an entire calendar year to be able to get long-term capital gains on it. Otherwise, you have to pay short-term capital gains, which not a fan of that. And then micromanaging a portfolio can lead to, you know, hold on, there's garbage trucks. Got to close the window. Micromanaging a portfolio can lead to all kinds of problems. You trade an asset, then that asset you've traded it to goes down, and the thing you were originally holding goes up. That's why you buy something, just hold it and just see what happens, and don't use the funds until you really need them for something. Like maybe someday XLM goes so up that you trade it in for like physical gold bullion. That might be a good idea. I don't know if I'd trade one crypto for another though. That's just a personal opinion. Thinking about pulling out of Morpho to put in more FXRP into Firelight when they increase the vault limit. So I hear you. I'm just gonna put new FXRP in. Not only am I data collecting, but I think it's good to have coals in multiple fires. We don't really know what the points for Firelight are gonna be yet. I think I've got like 500 million point, or maybe it's 500,000. I haven't looked at it in a while. I'm very excited for Firelight, but I'm not entirely thrilled that like there's been almost no news since December 3rd, and we still have no idea what the points do. So I guess maybe a little bit more transparency would kind of be nice, but I mean, it's not a huge deal, but I'm just being honest with you guys. Let's log in real quick. Since I'm showing you guys all this other stuff, we may as well just show you this. And let's connect. My position. There we go. Ooh, very close to 1,000,000 Firelight points. That's pretty cool. Did all that with just 300 FXRP. Now I've been in there for almost 3 months now, so that's pretty cool. I would like to have way more FXRP in here though. Zerp says the points will probably be some sort of voting power. That would make sense. I also had a feeling that they might let us redeem the points for some sort of stable coin, like maybe RLUSD or USDT0. We'll have to see. This is a theory of mine. I doubt they'd give you just XRP for it. It's probably some other asset, but we won't really know until this thing gets officially rolled out and is earning real yield instead of just points. The analytics on this thing are pretty cool though. People in total have put in just shy of 34 million FXRP, and then they've also taken out close to 9 million. But the vaults are always full. You can't really get into them right now, even if you wanted to. I mean, you could watch this thing like a hawk every day, but that's not really productive. I mean, you can see the last time a substantial amount was pulled out was on Sunday, February 8th. That was a whole week ago. Someone pulled out 11,000 XRP, or no, not even that much. So it's just like, it's not even worth bothering with right now. But the vault will go up, not this week, but next. So I'll make a video Friday getting us all kind of ready for that, just so anyone who wants to have it can get in. We don't know. If they just send it to 50 million, I think I'd be kind of disappointed. And if it goes to 50 million, it'll fill up basically overnight. So I'm getting ready. You know, they say prepare for the worst and expect the best. I don't know if that's the right saying. Underperform or under promise and over deliver. I don't know. Just get ready for them to maybe only raise it to 50 million. And if that's what it is, that's what it is. And just get ready to dump stuff in there. That's my thoughts, not financial advice. Texas says, new to your channel, what are your thoughts on your previous video? 10K XRP. Great question. Nothing's changed. I think all of those are very, very solid entry level targets. And when I say entry level, I don't mean like, oh, I'm going to get that in 6 months. It's like, that's the low bar benchmark for what I would call a forever bag. So like 10K XRP, you're going to do very well, but obviously if you had 20K XRP, you're going to do double as well. And I mean, you could extrapolate that out to infinity. So those are my minimum targets. I think everyone should be trying to at least tackle one of those buckets. The flare one right now might be the cheapest. I think you can still get 1 million flare for under $10,000. Oh, I have the thing up in my top left. If you look at the top left corner of my screen right now, the price of flare just under a penny. So if you had 10 grand, factoring in, you know, the exchange fees and all that fun stuff, you're still looking at, you know, about 10 grand gets you 1 million. Hbar just went over 10 cents. So $10,000 and some change will get you to 100,000 Hbar. And then with XRP, you'd need to have about $15,000 all in. You're looking at probably 35 to 40 grand if you did have the cash available. Definitely not telling people what to do. Everyone's situation is going to be different, but if you had the cash on hand, maybe you work in, you know, a STEM related field, you got your annual bonus coming up. Maybe you're getting 20K in bonus after taxes. You got 12, 13K left. I mean, you could cross one of these off the list all in one transaction. I'm not saying do that, but I am saying that that's what I would personally do, and that's what I've personally done. Probably shouldn't tell you guys this, but I got laid off last year, and I had a new job lined up, so I didn't need the severance package. So I just put my entire severance package into XRP. Like literally every last penny of it. And then the second job I had, it was a contract. So the contract expired and they didn't renew it. So it's kind of like getting laid off, but not quite, because it was contract work. But 2025, interesting year for me. You know, I worked at a company for 10 consecutive years. I never left the company. I thought the company loyalty route was the way to go, but I guess they thought differently. They laid me off, and so I went out and got a contract work. I worked out of this is almost humiliating work, but I worked at a call center. I worked in an offshore call center as an onshore guy. I'm not even sure why they hired me. I always thought that was kind of strange, but nonetheless, it was a 6-month thing. It kept me operational while I stacked hard, but then the contract expired, and I had something else that I was working on, and you know, we have a huge problem here in the United States with hiring freezes. The place I was interviewing with had a hiring freeze, so that went out the window, and I started making YouTube videos, and here I am 3 months later. Weird how things work out. This channel has been a lot of fun. I do think, you know, I want to be transparent with you guys. If a full-time opportunity were to come my way, I think I would take it. I would not stop making videos, but it might change kind of the cadence of at least these live streams. So nothing's happened yet, but I just want you guys to be aware of it. I would still be here. We'd still be making videos. I don't think I could stream 2 hours daily. But I could do it at night. I know some of you guys are in Europe. That's kind of why I like this time slot. There's no reason I couldn't just stream at like 9 o'clock at night, but that would mean that my Europe audience would be unable to participate. So it's just something I think about. We'll cross those bridges when they come. But I think, you know, here's the kind of the dilemma that I'm in. As a creator, the majority of your income comes from selling stuff. So selling, I mean, even on my channel, I'm promoting like the Gemini credit card, which is fine. But then you get to the point where you have to start doing 90-second ad reads, and it might be for products that like you don't believe in. And that's where the majority of income from a content creating standpoint comes from. And I don't really want to do that. If I had a day job, this could just purely be a passion project for me. And then I wouldn't have to do all the kind of lame behavior you see on other channels where they're constantly advertising crap, or they're making filler videos that are pointless just so that they'll continue getting their ad revenue. I don't want to be one of those people. So if getting a day job makes that feasible for me to just make good content, I don't have to worry about the money side of it. I think it's best for everyone, but we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. I mean, nothing's happened yet. Zerp says, Andrew quoting, prepare for the worst, but hope for the best. It was like when George Bush said, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, can't get fooled again. You know, I think it's interesting that of all the people in the Epstein files, Bush is not in them. So I feel like that's a W for W. Not saying he was a great president. I just making commentary that like it's kind of like a whodunit right now. You know, like okay, who was on that island? And we won't go too far down that because I know some of you guys don't like it. But it's all crypto related, right? Mr. Epstein was one of the original investors in Bitcoin. It can't be discredited. So I'm going to jump to Twitter. Aman, if you're still there, I'm going to bring Aman on here in about 10 to 15 minutes, and we're going to try to do this live. Now, my camera might look a little screwy. When Mill and I made the video, it was very hard for me to get the layout to look good, because basically what was happening was that you kind of see how there's like 50 copies of my screen. When we were filming, I could not get it so that my camera on Discord was like doing the same thing we're seeing right here. We'll try to figure that out. I might just make Amon's screen like super big and then make me small, because I think it's gonna do that. So we'll figure it out. If it does do that, maybe I just turn my camera off altogether and just let him do his thing. Steph, I appreciate that. It's weird. It's like a weird space where it's like I don't want to do it, but at the same time, once the channel gets to like critical mass, it wouldn't matter anymore. But even at like 10,000 subs, it's not quite enough to pay the bills yet. But it certainly could pay for like tickets to a Red Wings game or like a trip out to Florida for a weekend. But we're not quite yet at a steady income here. But when you guys super chat me, I hope you do realize that really does go a long way at making this somewhat sustainable for me. I was thinking if I did do this, I've been kicking this idea around that I might rename the stream Lunch Break Update, and then I could just stream for 30-35 minutes every day. Like, people go on lunch breaks all the time at work, right? Some people go for walks, some people go to the cafeteria. Would it really be such a big deal if this guy was giving market updates for 30 minutes a day? We'll see. Just thinking these things out. Let's jump to Twitter for just a couple minutes. Aman, if you could, okay, cool. You're already in the, cool. So you're already where I need you to be. When it's time to go, I'll drag you into the meeting room, and I guess we'll figure it out in real time if the display looks correct. But we'll just jump to Twitter. There are some things we're going to talk about. Just so you guys are aware, there's something going on the Twitter space. If you're on Twitter, you probably already know where I'm going to go with this. Ever since this Luke Belmar guy went on the Fresh and Fit podcast talking about KETA, there's been these shills on Twitter basically making false statements, by the way, saying that all these XRP holders are selling their XRP for KETA. I mean, these are unsubstantiated claims. I don't think it's true. Maybe it's true if they're catching like people that have no idea what's going on. But this type of shilling is, you got to have the pattern recognition to say, okay, this guy who's known for very questionable behavior in the past goes on a podcast, and then conveniently hours later there's hundreds of accounts saying, I'm gonna dump my XRP for KETA. It's just, Occam's razor. If it quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. So just keep an eye out for this kind of stuff. I'm scrolling through. Of course, here we are. This KETA stuff is everywhere. You can't avoid it. So just kind of keep an eye out for stuff like this. Everywhere on Twitter, it's like Twitter's a double-edged sword, because it's the best place to get news, but then it's filled with so much junk and garbage that you have to really do your due diligence on here. And I hate that it has to be this way. But your default position on Twitter should be to not trust anyone or anything you're seeing. I mean, now we have AI videos of politicians. You can't even really trust, you just about can't trust anything. But at the same time, Twitter breaks all the news. So I don't know how to navigate this yet. I guess you just have to kind of do your own research, like extra hard. Yeah, I mean, this guy's right here, a perfect example. I wonder if some of these guys are being paid to do this. What's going on, Deep Dave? Also funny stuff, all the curling drama in the Olympics. That's off topic. We don't have to talk about those. But I do say it a couple of times here. I think it's really weird how on Twitter, there's all these things I don't follow, like street fighting videos. I don't follow any of, but they just keep getting put in my feed. There was one thing I saw I wanted to cover. I think I saved the post. Not trying to fling mud here, you guys, but there's something very off to me about Jake Claver being a panelist at a Bitcoin conference. What do you guys think about this? If this is mud flinging, we can talk about. We could just move on to Amon's demonstration, but what is your thoughts on Jake Claver being a panelist at a Bitcoin convention? The quote is right here. We're excited to announce CEO and principal of Digital Ascension Group, Jake Claver, as a Bitcoin 2026 speaker. Bitcoin offers strategic long-term value driven by utility and adoption. It's something about this just doesn't add up to me. But maybe we won't linger on this too much. That's just on my radar. Beyond that, I watched the full interview with Charles with his CoinDesk live interview. Some people don't like Charles. I think he's a good guy. I think he's one of the good ones. I know that I don't want to say antics, but maybe his speaking style or his presentation style might make it difficult for him to get partnerships. He swears a lot. He's not shy to call people out by name. And so I think that could hurt Cardano in the long run. But I don't think anything that he says is wrong. I think he's a very smart individual. And so, you just kind of look at Charles versus, a guy like Jake Claver. It's like, I don't know who this guy is. But with Charles, whether you like him or not, I do feel that he's a genuine guy. And he had some good stuff to say about how retail has essentially been conned out of crypto. And he even mentioned all the bots in the frickin' videos. It's like, finally someone's saying it. His general point in this interview was that this space has given retail every reason not to trust crypto anymore, and that it's his mission to, rectify that. And that's kind of the position I have. So I like Charles. I know that some people don't like the way he speaks, or they don't believe in Cardano. I don't actually own any Cardano, but I think he's a good ally to have. So I'm gonna Amon, if you're ready to go, I think we could probably just get started. I'm going to wait for you to message me that you're good to go, but I'm going to send you a quick IM here. And when you're good to go, I'll pull you in and show us what you're working on. So I'll give Amon a minute or two here to respond. I got him up on my second monitor. In the meantime, we'll probably just kind of keep scrolling Twitter and see if there's any breaking news. Very strange that there's a standing ovation for a foreign dignitary. Don't have to get too deep into that, right? Not, at least not right now. All right, Amon's ready, so I'm going to throw my headset on, and we're gonna I apologize in advance if the screen's all messed up. This might be a work in progress kind of thing. But I'm going to pull Aman into my chat room here. And okay, that's good. Let me make sure my mic is good. Aman, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Now, those of you in the chat, can you guys hear Aman? All I need is one person to do a thumbs up or something. Just let us know that you can hear him, and if you can, I'll drag him over and we'll get this thing started. Ooh, Deep Dave says, I'd really like you to get an interview with Verson and Edo. Or is it Edo? I think that would be cool. As we grow here, that'd be sweet. Deep, are you saying yes to the audio? Okay, cool. They're saying they can hear you, so I'm gonna move us
All right.
onto the screen here.
Can you see my
Let me see. I think this probably looks good. You guys let me know in the chat if you can see everything properly. And if you can, then we're good to go. Aman, I can see what you're showing. But my screen's a lot
it's
bigger.
A little dark.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, if you want to just take it away, I'll give you the floor.
Yep. So first of all, I'm Iman. I've been on YouTube for many, many years. I haven't really done anything with a channel, but I've always been more of the voyeur of the crypto space and watching everybody create their content and stuff. But I think I have a little to contribute to those who are new and intermediate to the crypto space. But anyway, let me just get started here. So what we're talking about is Scepter, the FLR token. The really cool thing about this is that I have over here on the screen on this side here is staking flare. We know that it's a minimum of 50K flare to get started with that, plus a little bit of gas fees. And you can only, for what I can tell, is only stake with one FTSO provider at a time. And you may or may not get rewards because if they're not providing the data correctly and they don't get the rewards or they minimize their rewards, you get what they get. And if you do get rewards, it's in the range of 10 to 13%, and there is no liquidity there. It's just stuck in there, like Andrew has mentioned in the past. So what I want to draw your attention to here is the ScepterFi, the SFlare token. There's no minimum staking plus one flare and some gas fees. They stake and delegate to 60 plus FTSOs. So you're plus or minus guaranteed to get rewards. The other thing is that you have a 10 or 13% plus a 5 to 8% on delegation. And that's 2 times a week on that's 10% annual. So this is not, but you're getting rewards every 2 weeks here and you're getting rewards here every 3.5 days. I'm going to go to a share screen here in a minute, but I just wanted to do my PowerPoint presentation on my whiteboard here.
Yeah, no, this is great.
But in conjunction with all of these benefits here, no minimum, 60 FTSO providers, which are guaranteeing you pretty much rewards, and you have 2 weeks, you're getting a bump up, and then in 3.5 days, you're getting a bump up. I'm going to explain what that means in a minute. Liquid staking token is what is really powerful because now you're able to not only earn these rewards here, is now you have a liquid staking token that allows you to go out and earn more rewards with that token. So And I'll explain that here in a few minutes. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen here.
Before you
I mean,
jump to the
video.
next one, I do have a question actually
Sure.
because it caught my
Oh,
attention.
absolutely.
So in my
Sure.
own Flare mini series, we can see in real time that I'm with the Anchor FTSO, so I've got 50,000 in wrap Flare, I've got 50,000 in staked. For the first 2 weeks, you can see that my rewards for both the delegation and the staking were abysmal. I mean, on the wrap flare, it was as low as I think zero point 0.4 flare. I mean, at that point, it's
Hmm.
almost like why even have it in there? But the most recent one I got is good. So I don't
Right.
entirely understand. I'll be honest, it's part of my research. I don't entirely understand what went wrong there. I am getting the right rewards I'm expecting now, but do you have an answer? And it's okay if you don't. Are you able to explain why Scepter is guaranteeing rewards, whereas on the actual Flare website on Flare.network, I essentially missed a couple days worth of rewards when my tokens were with Anchor.
Right. And I really can't answer that question other than the fact that maybe either the FTSO provider Anchor didn't
Hmm.
have rewards for that epoch, or if it's possible to come in midstream of an epoch and start earning rewards, then you get whatever is left over in that epoch that you
Hmm.
started from. Those are the only two options I can see, but that might be an interesting thing to go and reach out to a Flare dev or something and see if you can do an interview with them. And likewise with
Yeah,
Scepter, I'm sure they would love to be able to clarify some of the things that I'm looking at, maybe even add more value,
of course.
which we could all learn from. So
Well,
I'm going to
sorry to
stop
hijack your
sharing.
thing. Oh yeah, I'll let you get
Oh,
back to it.
no, you can interject anytime. Just ask questions. I'm going to go ahead and try to share a screen in a second. So give me 1 second.
And those of you in the live chat, if you guys have questions, we'd be happy to tackle them as we go through this. We might even do some open Q&A at the end.
All right. Can we blow that up?
Um, let's see here. I think I've got you. It's doing the little thing where it's loading. All right, yeah, this looks pretty good. I
Okay,
might
perfect.
switch my layout just for now so that your screen's a little bit bigger. Um,
I don't
let
know if I can make mine. Oh, is that bigger?
yeah, let me make my head smaller so that I'm not taking up space here. I think we're good. We're good. We're not.
Okay.
I'm not covering up anything
Okay.
important here.
All right. So what's very interesting about S-Flare is that, like you can see here on the screen, we're making 11.5% almost. You see that? Do you
Yes.
see my mouse? You see my mouse cursor?
Yep. And I'm making you bigger on my side so that we can see you better.
Okay. So if we're in the staking part of the Scepter website, and you do have to connect your wallet. So it's a decentralized application that you connect your wallet to, just like you would with Enosis or the Bifrost wallet, things like that. You're connecting your wallet to this DeFi application. What I find interesting is that if I were to stake 1,000 Flare, I'm going to get back. Now you can swap or you can stake. You can obviously see you get maybe one extra Flare by doing this swap here, and it's on the. You notice this little icon down here, the logo. That is the Open Ocean.
Mm-hmm. I've heard of
Uh,
Open Ocean before.
it's,
Maybe it's maybe I heard it
yeah,
from you.
yeah. So Open Ocean is where you can swap your, Flare, Wrap Flare, uh, USDT 0, whatever, right here.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, which is interesting, to be able to swap that. You will actually be able to get some arbitrage on that, but that's a little bit too high level. So what we're looking at doing is this S flare. Ignore my phone if you can hear it. You're getting these. You're saying, well, okay, I'm going to put 1,000 flare in them, and only getting 559 or 560 S flare. Why is that?
Mm-hmm.
Because how S Flare stake flare works in Scepter is that it's like a big pool of flare. And if we scroll down here and you notice that they have this one S flare equals 1.7860 flare. Every time rewards are added to the pool, this ratio goes up. So you can hold the same amount of flare, the 560,
Mm-hmm.
but it be worth more flare when the rewards come in, the ratio changes.
So if I follow
This is 1S.
correctly, oh, sorry to cut you off.
Go ahead.
If I'm following this correctly, so if I've got one SFLR, right now it's exchange rate is to 1.78, but there could be a future where one SFLR could be 2 or maybe even 3 or even 4. But once you've
Mm.
put in, you're locked in, right? Like you're if you scroll back up a little bit, your 560 SFLR, that's basically you're locked in at that figure there. So even if the exchange rate goes up, you're still going to have 560 SFLR. Am I reading that right?
Well, so and this is where it's just a little bit of a mind tease. It's so like you can always swap out of your S flare into flare, but you're going to get whatever the ratio is.
Mm-hmm.
So if tomorrow the rewards come in and then it's going to be 1.7865, well now you're going to get that 5
Mm.
digit more flare for 1S flare. And if this were to go to 1.8, now you're going to get 1.8 flare for 1S flare. So as long it doesn't matter how many you're holding.
Mm-hmm.
But what I am saying is that you today spend 1,000 flare to get 560, but tomorrow and in every epoch after, every reward they collect, this ratio keeps going up. So now the S flare one S flare is now the 560 S flare is now worth 1,050 flare or
Mm-hmm.
1,150 flare or whatever.
I see a question in the chat. I think it's a good question to ask. Can this ratio go the opposite direction? Can it go down?
I don't know how it can because the pool is always collecting rewards and the
Mm-hmm.
rewards are adding to the pool. So you're always in a positive direction with the pool. They're
Okay.
only ever adding flare to the pool, so you're only ever going to get more flare for the S flare.
Now, if you
It's a
were to
kind of a one
pull,
direction.
sorry to speak over you. If you were to pull
Mhm.
flare out, would that make the pool smaller?
Um, I mean, yeah, I suppose it would, but uh, I think the ratio stays the same because you've
Mm-hmm.
just removed yourself from the pool.
Yeah,
I think the ratio will stay the same because the ratio will be the same if you pull all of your flare out of the pool
that makes
by
sense.
unstaking. You don't have to stake though. I mean, you don't have to stake and unstake. Like you
Uh-huh.
can actually just swap out in and out of your S flare. Either here now, it actually that's a new thing. The swap feature just came aboard using the Open Ocean, which I was having to go to
Mm-hmm.
Open Ocean and do the swap because I was actually getting more flare. So when I would go stake over here, just as a quick sidebar, if I wanted to stake 1,000 flare,
Mm-hmm.
I could see that I would get maybe 540 or something like that. And if I go to Open Ocean, I was getting 560. And so I would go and arbitrage the difference.
Ah,
Like, well,
interesting.
I'm gonna go get more flare from the swap than stake it and get less.
Okay, so if I'm,
But
I,
but
I
because they now added the feature for Open Ocean, you don't really have to do that. It's pretty close. You can see it right here.
so I think I'm picking up what you're putting down. I just want to read it or say it back to you just to make sure I understand it right. So as
Hmm.
it currently stands, you have basically two ways of doing this. You can either just stake your flare directly, and they're going to give you 559 and some change SFLR, or you could
Hmm.
go to Open Ocean and get it there, and then basically swap it over here and stake it that way at just a slightly better premium. Am I kind of getting that right?
No, actually, what I'm saying is that OpenOcean was not on this website
Oh,
before.
okay.
So this right here, the swap feature wasn't here. You only had the option to stake, and it would be like 1,000 flare would be like 540 S
Okay.
flare. And I would go to OpenOcean and see that there was a difference of like 560. I would say, well, I'm going to go and get the extra 20
Mm-hmm.
S flare for swapping. So, and they had some 4% fee for if you weren't inside of a certain time frame after an epoch, because that was when the airdrops were happening, but they removed
Mm-hmm.
all that. So there's not much arbitrage as I can see right now, but the real value add here is that this is the website for Scepter where you can easily swap your flare for S flare. You can actually also do some wrap flare. Make sure you know which token
Yeah.
you're using.
I
You don't
just
want to
want
use the wrong. Well, when you connect your wallet, you can't really miss it because you're going to
to.
see when you connect your wallet how much flare you have, your balance, and
Yeah.
then how much wrap flare you have. Yeah,
I just want to
so
give a quick
there you go.
disclaimer to those watching, either in the chat or in the playback. Be very
Absolutely.
careful with Flare and Wrap Flare. If you send Flare to a Wrap Flare address or vice versa, you end up losing your assets. So just make sure that your Flare always goes to a Flare wallet and your Wrap Flare always goes to a Wrap Flare wallet. Most of you probably won't run into that problem. A lot of this is very seamless, but if you try to micromanage your own assets, like for example in Bifrost, you can see your wrapped flare. If you try sending that, you're gonna lose it. So just be very careful, you guys. For those of you watching at home, but with
Right. So
what Amon or Iman's showing right here, you don't have to worry about that.
you can say I'm in, it's fine.
Iman,
So whatever we want, whatever you want.
sure.
So the really cool thing about this is I was saying on the whiteboard that we have a lot of benefit in terms of not having to micromanage every epoch that comes along.
Mm-hmm.
S-Flare is capturing all the rewards from the staking and the delegations that happen inside their ecosystem. And that's really powerful because they give you a staking token, which allows you to go and earn more rewards. And I'm going to share that with you here. So if I go over to Kinetic and I'm on their main market dashboard here, they have 96 million, I believe that's dollars. Yes,
Yeah, it looks like it.
$96.5 million in supply, and people are borrowing up to $14.25 million in whatever. They may be borrowing S Flare, Wrap Flare,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, USDT zero, whatever.
And this would be
On your
TLV,
supply
right?
side, uh, total value locked is the TLV, total TLV. Is that what you said?
Total value locked. Maybe it's TVL.
TVL,
Sorry
TVL.
about that. Yeah.
Total value locked would be anything that's wrapped or staked. So S Flare is a staked token. Yeah, this is basically total value locked, I guess, in a sense too.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's very cool. Cause I like looking at that stuff because on a personal level, the total value lock. Well, for one, I think you and I talked about it offline, but there's a lot of people trying to day trade crypto right now, and
Yeah.
so what we're looking at right here is quite literally the exact opposite of that. When you lock your tokens, you're not flipping them, and
Right.
this what we're looking at right here is what's going to provide stability in this market. So the higher the total value lock goes up, the more realized this crypto space becomes. That's why that's important to me, and I always look at those figures.
Mhm. So what we have here is just obviously your primary markets for Flare. We have the Flare ETH
Hmm.
at 4%, and you can see there's $2.17 million in value there. S Flare, we have $8.49 million in S Flare being staked at 0.5%. USDT 0 at 14 and 2.75%, 10 million and a quarter, $10.25 million. It's crazy. On your ISO markets, where you have FXRP, STXRP, and USDT 0, some pretty impressive numbers here. 80 million, or is that 60? 60
No,
million,
yeah, that's
sorry.
60 million.
STXRP 443,000, and USDT 0 almost $9.33 million. And then you have the jewel and flare. So it's not very much going on down here. I don't know why the USDC is looking nice at about 8%. So that's pretty interesting. So listen, guys, I'm not I have no connection to Kinetic. You have to do your own research. I don't know if this entity that put up this DApp, it's a decentralized application, how it's being run, monitored, if it's always going to be there. We always have to be careful. But almost $100 million is on this site. So that's pretty damn crazy.
Yeah, and I'll give a disclaimer.
Somebody's doing, yeah, go ahead.
I'll give a disclaimer as well. What we're showing you guys here on the channel, both myself and Iman, neither of us are financial advisors, so none of this is financial advice. No. Do your own research, especially when it comes to things like this. We're happy to showcase to you guys DeFi opportunities, but please understand, at the end of the day, you're the one pressing the button. We're not responsible for your assets if you do participate in these. However, both of us do believe that this is safe. Both Kinetic and Sceptre are partnered up with FLR. You can see the proof of that on the FLR Network website. They are official partners, so both of these, in my opinion, are safe, but always do your own research.
Right. It is Sceptre, not Spectre.
Oh, did I say Sceptre? I'm sorry. Well, I think on your stream, is there something that says Spectra? It's like a green. It's like a green tab. That's what I was reading.
This is Spectra.
Okay, that's what I was reading.
Spectra is another.
Yeah.
So what I was going to do is just basically run through real quick some other opportunities that you have to do your research on. But there's LP pools on SparkDex. There's also SFlare and WrapFlare pool here at 4.25% or 4.33%. I think there's a Jewel one here, but I don't, I think Jewel's kind of going away, so I wouldn't even really bother with that. Here's Enosis website. It's a DApp as well. You've got a WrapFlare and a SFlare combo here. So there's other yielding opportunities. There's also Cyclo. That is a very complicated, mind-bending opportunity. You really have to do some research on this one. I still am trying to figure it out myself. Now, there are some other guys on the space, Flare Forward, and I think there's another guy that is also doing some of this type of content on these strategies. And by the way, while I have you here, I just want to let you know that you can go to following in your X feed to see more of what you follow instead of all the other garbage. So if you wanted to.
Thank you for this, because I just started my Twitter for this channel, so I don't really use it much. So I was just like, man, I'm seeing all this stuff on here that I wasn't looking for.
Yeah.
So that's good to know.
For your content on your on your show, maybe you could just put it on your following and just try to follow the ones that
that's a good idea.
So right here on the Sceptre website, you can see DeFi partners, and it lists all of the ones that you can that have different strategies. Here's your security over here, and then your integrations. So just really flush that out in your own time. Seek out information from credible people that are showing you strategies in this space. I wanted to show you this though. The total supply for Sceptre is 1.2 trillion. I'm sorry, $billion, not trillion. Wish it was trillion. $1.25 billion, billion flare. I'm sorry, not even dollars. Just yeah. So that's pretty incredible. The amount of
Hmm.
trust
Well,
people are putting into
that would
this
be
stuff.
about $12 million, wouldn't it?
I think you're right.
I mean,
I think you're
that's
right.
no small amount of money.
No, that's a good percentage of the of the supply
Hmm.
of Flare. Total Flare staked right here.
Yeah.
Two
Oh,
point two and a quarter.
that's 2.2 billion. Yeah,
2.2 billion Flare. Yeah, that's a good bit of Flare right there.
that's a lot. That's very good. You also have to factor in,
Even though it gives go ahead, factor in what?
well, with all the flare drops coming to an end, most people probably haven't swapped out of the delegation yet. I mean, it's also brand new. These are just going to go up
Mhm.
over time as people find out that staking has a higher yield.
Listen, guys, even though this looks, great and it looks like you can trust it because there's so much value into this space,
Hmm.
that does not mean it's safe. It's foolproof. So always try to mitigate your losses by testing the waters over
Hmm.
time. The markets are going to be around for a long time. We're going to have plenty of opportunity. We are in an infantile, crawling, walking, or just trying to walk in the
Of course.
in the crypto space and not in the DeFi space as well.
Yeah. And for you
So
guys watching at home, if you have any doubts, we're doing a 6-month series on this channel. I'm not going to give a full, true endorsement of any of this stuff until at the end of the 6-month experiment. The final step is to actually withdraw the assets. So we need to be able to prove that not only did I generate all of this extra income, but that I was able to withdraw it. I think that's a very important detail. That won't be until about August. So we're about 3 weeks into this test so far. We've got 5 months to go. If any of this stuff makes you nervous, just keep watching the channel and you can use me as a guinea pig. Let's see if I lose money, then hey, I lost it, you didn't. But if you do want to take the
right.
risk and jump in on this, you can feel free to follow along. Just understand that at the end of the day, you're the one pressing the buttons. So, um, Iman, do you have
Is your
anything else to show us on this?
I think the most difficult part sometimes is just understanding how the S flare ratio to flare is actually building over time, and that if you're holding the S flare token and then you're going out and you're earning that 11.5%, and then you get to use this token that can go out and earn other yield, which is really
Hmm.
powerful. It's like taking equity out of your home, I guess, in a
Yeah.
sense, where you have value in your home and you want to borrow that money. But the cool thing is that you're earning value while you're using it.
Hmm.
So I'm earning value on Kinetic, for instance. I'm supplying S Flare. I'm earning 0.5%. Plus, I'm earning the percents coming in just by holding the token. It's really incredible, and I believe that the DeFi around S Flare and other tokens and coins are going to explode in the Flare space over time, and a lot
I,
more use cases to come.
I'm a believer as
So
well. So I want to start wrapping
yeah,
this. We do have some Q&A. I've got a couple questions here. I've dragged um, my screen over so that those watching at home can read along. So first question coming from, let me just make this nice and clean before we do it. First question's
I'm getting
coming
out of there.
from, sorry, what was that?
I'm gonna go ahead and get out of the space here
Are you sure?
off of Discord. No, no,
Okay.
no. I'm gonna just stay on your video. I'm gonna get out of this space here.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Some of the questions I might not be able to answer myself, so maybe we would have to save the Q&A for another time. But just some questions we can at least read aloud, so we're able to follow along. But Chris was asking if the ratio reward is the epoch essentially, and um, Millpower is asking the safety and reliability factors of Scepter. Unfortunately, since Amon's already jumped out, we probably won't be able to answer those at this point. But Amon, there are questions in the chat. You know, feel free to answer those at your leisure. And then, of course, we're always going to be in the Discord answering these in deeper detail. So let me unshare this real quick so that here we go. Just make this look nicer for you guys. So I'm going to start wrapping up the stream and also that video. I think we're going to do a kind of a one-to-one. For those of you guys watching at home, we do a live stream Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern time. If you liked this video, hop in and check this out. We shot this in real time. This was live on the stream. If you have questions for us, ask them in the comments section below. We'll be happy to answer whatever you guys at home or watching have. We'll be happy to answer any questions you at home or what. Geez, I'll edit this part out, guys. I do this shit all the time. Feel free to ask questions. We'll be in the comments section. We'll be happy to answer anything that you have. And if you want to know more, feel free to join my Discord. We're always covering these types of ideas and getting into the nitty-gritty details. I'll have a link for that in the description of this video. As always, like the video if you made it this far. Subscribe. As always, like the video if you made it this far. Subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Hey, you guys you see that? That's how we do it around here. We just finished up a video. I'm gonna edit that thing up. We'll have that coming out sometime this week. You guys just gotta peek behind the curtain of how much I stutter. It's weird. I'm talking to you guys and know you're here, and so I don't stutter. But for some reason, when I look at this camera and I'm doing a pre-recorded video, I stutter all over the place. I still haven't figured out why that happens, but. We just wrapped up that video, but we're getting close to the hour here, so I'm gonna wrap the stream up as well. I'm hopping on a plane here in a couple hours. I'm going to Denver. Gonna be covering the Hbar conference, so no stream tomorrow, at least not from 11 to 1. I'll probably just, at some point during the conference, if there's like time to kill, I'll go find a quiet area and I'll just literally turn on the laptop and hit record, and there won't be necessarily an announcement. So just kind of keep an eye out for that. When I get back to the hotel room, I'll probably stream. So maybe I'll stream tomorrow. I'm getting my wires crossed because Colorado's in a different time zone, but that might be at like 10 o'clock Eastern time, somewhere around that range. I think that'd be like 8 o'clock Colorado time. Wednesday morning, I should be able to stream before I check out of the hotel room. So I think I'll still stream Wednesday. Maybe I just go for an hour and a half. And then I'll be home Thursday, back to normal. Keep an eye out for that. We got some cool videos. This was fun. If you guys want to be a part of stuff like this, I'm happy to bring guests on. I mean, you guys know certain topics that I don't have exposure to, and this is kind of like a team effort here. So I appreciate all of you guys for hopping in. I'm going to approve all the new members that hopped in during the stream today. We're over 50 members on the channel, you guys. This is pretty sick. It's moving pretty quick, and you guys are pretty active in the chat. So or not just the chat, but like the channel chat rooms. Anyways, appreciate you guys. We're at the hour. We got a few minutes left. Ayman or Aman, I guess I struggle with pronouncing your user handle. I think it's Ayman, but I'll see if I can clean that thing up and make it just its own video. I think that was pretty cool. I'll probably work on that while I'm sitting on the flight. I mean, what better way to kill 2 hours on an airplane than to make a video? So pretty cool stuff. I will probably see you guys tomorrow. I just don't know when. We'll have more content from you guys coming very soon. Thank you guys for hopping in, and I will see you guys sometime tomorrow. I just don't know when. With that, take care, everyone.